The late afternoon sun hung low over the quiet suburban street, casting long shadows between the neat rows of houses. A yellow line of police tape fluttered lightly in the summer breeze, stretching across the road like a fragile boundary between safety and the unknown. Beyond it, a group of officers stood in silence, their faces carved with tension. But all eyes weren't on the scene around them, they were fixed on one figure crouched low, ears perked, muscles taut with alertness. The German shepherd's chest rose and fell rapidly, his nose pressed urgently against the cold, iron drain cover at the center of the street. Then, suddenly, the dog barked. Once. Twice. Sharp, insistent, filled with something more than instinct, it was urgency. The bark echoed against the still houses, startling even the seasoned officers. The canine handler, holding the leash tight, tried to calm his partner, but the dog wouldn't back away. He pawed at the grate, claws scratching against the metal, nose pressed so hard it seemed he was trying to push his way through. The sound of his bark carried with it something that cut deeper than warning. It was a cry that something, or someone, was there. Within moments, the officers closed in around him. At first, they thought maybe the dog had picked up a trail, a faint trace of something criminal or dangerous hidden underground. But what they were about to uncover was far more shocking than any of them could have anticipated. Before we dive deeper into this heart-pounding story, if you believe in the power of loyalty, second chances, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps us bring you more real, emotional, and inspiring stories like this one. And don't forget, leave a comment to tell us what you think about this incredible journey. The street had been quiet all afternoon, almost eerily so. Neighbors had gathered in small clusters behind the tape, whispering to one another, speculating about what the police presence might mean. A missing child alert had gone out hours earlier. A 7-year-old boy had vanished while playing outside his home just blocks away. His bicycle had been found abandoned near the curb, wheels still spinning when his mother came running. Since then, the hours had dragged on like an eternity, the silence of unanswered questions stretching heavy over the community. Hope and fear lived side by side in every parent's heart that evening. The canine, named Archer, had been part of the search from the beginning. He was no ordinary dog, his sharp nose and unmatched loyalty had saved lives before. But more than skill, Archer had an instinct his handler often described as something almost spiritual, a sixth sense for danger, for life, for truth. When Archer stopped at the drain and refused to leave, his handler felt a chill ripple through him. It wasn't just scent driving Archer, it was determination. Something, or someone, was below. The officers quickly went to work. One of them knelt beside the drain, shining a flashlight through the gaps in the heavy cover. At first, there was only darkness and the trickle of water echoing below. But then, faintly, something moved. A flicker, a shift, something that caught the beam of light. The officer leaned closer, heart hammering in his chest. His breath caught in his throat when he saw it, two small hands, trembling, weakly pressing against the underside of the grate. For a moment, time froze. The boy was alive. Shouts broke out as officers scrambled into action. They called for backup, for equipment to lift the cover, for medics to be ready. The air thickened with urgency as the community held its collective breath. Archer barked again, pacing restlessly, as if urging them to hurry. The drain cover was heavy, rusted in place, but with each grunt of effort, each pull of the crowbars, it began to shift. The sound of grinding metal rang across the street like a battle cry against time itself. And then, with a final heave, the grate came free. Beneath, in the damp, suffocating darkness of the storm drain, was the missing boy. His face was pale, streaked with dirt and tears, his small body shaking from exhaustion and fear. He blinked against the sudden light, whispering something too faint for anyone to hear. His mother, who had pushed her way through the crowd despite officers trying to hold her back, screamed his name. Her voice cracked, raw with equal parts relief and pain, as she fell to her knees, arms outstretched. The boy was pulled out gently but quickly, wrapped in a blanket as paramedics checked him over. He clung to his mother, burying his face in her chest, his sobs muffled against her trembling arms. Officers, hardened men who had seen more than their share of tragedy, stood silently, eyes glistening. And Archer, the dog who had refused to give up, sat quietly beside them now, his body finally still, his gaze fixed on the boy as if making sure he was truly safe. What had happened to him slowly became clear. The boy had fallen into the drain while playing, the cover slightly ajar from maintenance work. He had slipped in, unable to climb back out, his voice lost beneath the street. Hours passed, his cries unheard until Archer's nose, heart, and determination found him. The story could have ended in tragedy, but because of one dog's relentless loyalty and the bond he shared with his handler, hope had been restored. The boy's mother couldn't stop thanking the officers, but she always turned back to Archer, her eyes overflowing with gratitude. She bent down and stroked his head, whispering through tears that he was her hero, her son's guardian angel in fur. Archer simply closed his eyes, leaning gently into her hand, as if he understood. Days later, when the story made headlines, it wasn't the officers or the equipment that people remembered most, it was Archer. The image of a German shepherd pawing at a drain, refusing to move until he was heard, became a symbol of faith, instinct, and the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. The boy recovered quickly, though the memory of the drain and the darkness lingered in his eyes. But when he visited the police station weeks later to thank the officers who saved him, it was Archer he ran to first. He wrapped his little arms around the dog's neck and whispered, "You found me." Archer wagged his tail, his eyes soft, his body leaning into the boy's embrace. Sometimes, words weren't necessary. And so, a moment of despair turned into a story of hope. It was a reminder that sometimes salvation doesn't come in the form of grand gestures or mighty heroes, but through the instincts of a loyal animal who simply refuses to give up. Archer didn't just find the boy. He reminded everyone watching of the purest kind of loyalty, the kind that asks for nothing in return but gives everything. If this story touched your heart the way it touched ours, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Pawsitive Tales, and share it with someone who needs to believe in miracles again. And please, leave us a comment below. What did this story make you feel? Do you believe animals sense things we cannot? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Because in the end, Archer's story isn't just about one boy, one family, or one rescue. It's about reminding us all that hope can be found in the most unexpected places, even beneath a drain cover, waiting for a loyal heart to uncover it. Special request to comment. Before you go, share in the comments what this story meant to you. Did Archer's loyalty inspire you? Your words might inspire someone else today.